Friday night. The lights are low. I actually got done reading all of my books, so you know what time it is. It's time for Nick at Night. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back to Nick at Night. This is where I get to talk about, in a non-spoilery way, all the different books that I read this week. And my God, there was a stack of them this week. Mostly good stuff, a few disappointing titles in there. Let's get into it. Starting off with the big two, as always, we're going into Marvel. This is Heroes Return #1. So I believe this has got to be the end of this little arc right here, right? I know it's I hear it's continuing on, maybe in like Avengers or something like that. That's what I'm hearing. Jason, Aaron, Ed McGuinness. So as you know, I've been a really big fan of the Heroes Reborn series so far. I think the art has been solid. I think the concepts have been interesting. This is one of the only Marvel events probably ever. And when I say ever, I've only been reading comics for maybe 5 years or so, besides like Civil War and stuff like that, that I really, really, really enjoyed. So, so this is a nice little conclusion. We do get not quite a big reveal because we kind of were teased who's kind of responsible for all this, but we had a really interesting cliffhanger at the end with that person. I'm not going to spoil it. We had some kind of like collaboration or combination of worlds at the end. So this one went into the Squadron Supreme versus the Avengers, right? Like this version of the Avengers. And so they did have their big battle. They didn't sit around and eat shawarma like I thought they were going to do. I really thought they were going to just sit around and eat shawarma all day, but no, we got a really good, nice little battle. They kind of all squared off against each other, and each battle had their own little highs and lows, I thought, but it was an interesting ending. Nothing too groundbreaking. Cool little, like I said, villain reveal at the end, and kind of like, where do we go from here? So, yeah, it had like a similar ending to Venom 200 with the Council of Reeds. This is kind of the Council of Red. And so, yeah, take away with that as you will. Heroes Return #1. I've enjoyed the series. All connecting covers, which is really, really cool. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing where this story goes from here. But yeah, Heroes Return. I've had a blast with Heroes Reborn and Heroes Return. So that's good. On to DC. We have Infinite Frontier. This is #1. Joshua Williamson, right? Yeah. So this was okay. I liked a couple of the concepts that they had inside of here. It's a 6-issue series, so it's a limited series. I thought it was interesting. I didn't really read a lot of metal or anything else going on in DC, so I'm a little bit lost when it comes to this, but I do like that we have Barry Allen running around, checking out all the different worlds. We have this other world with this other Justice League team in it, and we have our Thomas Wayne Batman appearing in this as well. So I liked all that stuff. I like Barry Allen running around trying to figure out what's going on. I like that kind of storytelling. And we had some pretty interesting reveals at the end. I did like there's a really cool arsenal scene in here that I was not expecting, and so I did enjoy that. So we'll see where it goes. If you don't really have a whole lot of history with DC books or know a lot about the different Crisis events or metal or anything else, you might be a little bit lost like I was, but I do like reading a book with a bunch of characters that I know exist, but I don't know a lot about, because it gives you more familiar with them. So that's the silver lining in Infinite Frontier. So yeah, I'll keep reading it, see where it goes. All right, so on to another DC book. This is the Wonder Woman Black and Gold, issue 1. Didn't really like this one. So I try to give these a shot, and just knowing that they're really short stories. And first off, the art is gorgeous. So Black and Gold, I mean, those two colors really, really go well together. And I'll kind of flash a page here so you kind of see what kind of art is going on here. Hopefully you can see it. So those two colors go really, really well together. So artistically, even though the artist changes, I think it looks really, really good. We get some pretty weak stories though. There's a couple okay ones in here, but like it opens up with a very, very boring story, I think. And it doesn't really get a whole lot better going forward. And they're only probably like 6 pages long, so you can't really do a whole lot. But I feel like if you're given the opportunity to write Wonder Woman, even in this kind of setting, and you're going to be in with a bunch of different other writers, you need to bring like your A game. And I don't think anybody really did. I'm not upset at the book. I just thought that it was a little bit boring. So Wonder Woman Black and Gold, it's not great. But if you got it and you liked some of the stories, man, I'm happy for you. But it just didn't do it for me. But yeah, I'm glad to add it to the collection because it's a really nice cover anyways. All right, Checkmate, another DC book. Brian Michael Bendis. So again, this is kind of for me, it's kind of like Infinite Frontier. Lots of characters I'm not familiar with, all kind of teaming up, and apparently their teaming up has some kind of relevance because all the history between everybody. We get some Damian Wayne action in here. We get a little bit of Lois Lane at the end, and some of the kind of drama that her and her dad were kind of going through, and some of the history there. I will say that it's not an awful read if you don't really know what's going on in the DC universe, but like Infinite Frontier, if you're not super familiar with a lot of the characters they don't really talk about a whole lot, then you will kind of be lost. So I'm wondering if I'm going to keep going with this or not. I'm not entirely sure. So this book is kind of on the hot seat. Infinite Frontier, I feel like I need to go and keep going with, but I'm not sure if Checkmate is relevant enough to keep going through. I'm not entirely sure. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm interested to know what you guys think of those two books because I feel like they're based on deep cuts, and maybe just for me personally, deep cuts because I don't follow DC, and shame on me, right, for not following it. But maybe you guys are following it really closely and you guys know everything that's going on. And if that's the case, great. I'm just telling you how my experience from it. So a book that I really, really enjoyed was Robin #3, another Joshua Williamson book. So I got that awesome alternate cover, that variant. So Damien's still on that like Mortal Kombat island where they learn that you could actually die 3 times, I think, and you'll be perfectly fine. You'll get resurrected. But in this book, he's trying to learn how to relax and trying to just kind of hang out for a little while. But he kind of falls in with Hawk. And so here we go. Green Arrow's son, right? And they kind of have a moment where they're sitting back and they're talking about, they might think that they're kind of different, but all of a sudden they start talking about like their upbringings and how their fathers treated them and things like that. And there's a scene in here where Hawk says, yeah, my dad has a thing about fishnets. And then Damien says, my father, it's whips and leather. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And they had a big laugh about that. Ultimately, they kind of get brought back to reality and they end up getting into a battle. And then we get a big reveal at the end about a character we haven't seen yet, but we suspect is around. So I've been loving Robin. Again, it's another character I haven't been following, and I'm glad I'm enjoying a book that they're in. And these B covers, they're all going to be similar. The previous one had Damien on it with like putting a glove on. And this one has Hawk in that green. And so we're going to have a couple more covers like this. So those would be cool to collect. So check those out. We're still in DC. Oh my God. This has got to be a record. Batman Reptilian. We have Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp. So I feel like in this book, there's an interesting concept somewhere in there. It's basically just Batman interrogating this thug about what the heck happened in this warehouse or in this meeting place where all these villains got together to kind of, hash out this month's plan to kill Batman, right? And the guy keeps talking about how things didn't feel right, and then they all kind of pulled on each other, and then nothing really happened, and then apparently they all got slaughtered somehow. It was a little bit hard to follow. The art is real. I don't want to use the term muddy. What else do you use? It's not very detailed. It's kind of like there's tons of black. It's very, very dark and shaded. And there's a lot of like close up, weird formatted panels where you almost don't even know what you're looking at. And then the last several pages there's no dialogue. It's just kind of like walking you through a scene. And I think you're supposed to extrapolate something at the end of the scene. And I think I have an idea what's going on, but at the same time, I don't towards the end. So I don't know, man. It is, there was an interesting story in there, but I felt like it didn't really go as far as I wanted it to go. And then the end was real unclear about what happened to me. So if it's crystal clear to you, let me know let me know down below in the comments. Then there's this scene with like, who is it? Joker, Scarecrow. I mean, everybody, right? Clayface, Ivy, everybody. And Joker just looks awful. I'm going to try to tilt it so you can see. So right here, I don't know. Anyway, not as good as I was hoping. I don't know if I'm going to keep picking it up. I might wait for you guys to tell me how number 2 is before I pick it up, because these are $5 books, and I'm really enjoying Batman and Batman the Detective. And so I'm trying to figure out if there's a place for Batman Reptilian in that poll as well. So let me know what you thought of Reptilian, because I didn't really dig it that much. All right, now we got a stack of indies to go through. Starting with Shadecraft number 4. Who is on this one? Joe Henderson. And Lee Garbett. So I did not enjoy issue number 1. I enjoyed issue number 2 and 3 much better. And then issue number 4 really kind of blew the world out and kind of increased the scope of the whole story in general. So we learned that our girl here, she can manipulate shadows. She can use them to her advantage. We kind of get a hint that her brother might be a manifestation from within her and not really the brother who's in a coma at home. Is that true? Is that not true? I think it's left up to interpretation a little bit towards the end. I think we find out. I'm leaning more towards one side than the other. And then we get a lot of world building. We learn about other characters that might have similar powers. We learn a little bit of backstory about some of the family members and things like that. And we learn kind of like a Stranger Things type thing. Is there's this organization right outside of town who's like experimenting on people and things like that, and want to build this army with these like super powered people. So anyway, interesting world building and some character development in here. So I think I'm going to keep writing out Shadecraft. It was a little bit on the border for me, but issue 3 and issue 4 really kind of pumped it up and expanded the world in a good way. So there you go. Like Shadecraft. All right. Homesick Pilots number 6. I believe this is the first issue, right? So Dan Waters, first issue of the second arc. So this is Dan Waters, and it picks right back up where we left off in the first arc. We have our character who's essentially coated in blood. She's got like this ghost possession all over her. She can't wash it away. She's trying to learn how to control these powers, trying to kind of animate these robots around her so she can be used kind of as a weapon to go out and stop other ghosts, right? I think I have the concept right. So she's kind of in this base, this militarized base with these punk rock guys who are just kind of like trying to figure out how they can hack ghosts, in other words, and that they use that phrase a couple different times. And so they don't quite know if they can trust them or not yet. They try to do some experiments and they fail. They learn some interesting things about how to get rid of ghosts, but then at the very end, we kind of hear that the house that was destroyed, the haunted house, like the source of all this evil, was not fully destroyed, and it will come back and it will continue to kill. So I think our main character is going to have to kind of suck it up and learn how to use her powers more and help go back after this house and destroy this evil. It was a little bit confusing to me. Arc number 1, I feel like I need to go back and read all 5 issues to really kind of get a big grasp on this. But that might be needed. And I think I've had this complaint with the first arc too, where I couldn't quite follow it perfectly from book to book. And so I was a little bit lost every time I picked up the issue. And this book felt a little bit like that too. But maybe it's just me. And perhaps I can sit down with somebody and they can really kind of walk me through it. But I think I just need to reread them and see if it makes sense. So Homesick Pilots number 6, this is Dan Waters. Not a bad read. I would read them just back to back to back to back. I think that's one problem I have with that. Okay, Stray Dogs. So this is issue 5, the final issue. This is Tony Fleece and Trish Forstner. So this was my pick of the week from a closure standpoint. Not the best single issue in the series of 5 books, but it was a predictable and worthy conclusion to the story. So essentially, it kind of ends the way that we all kind of predicted, I think. You know, once we kind of realize how in danger these dogs are, and as these dogs become a little bit more self-aware and aware of what their owner's been doing. I mean, there's only so many ways the story can end, especially with a cover like this. And so I think that the ending was well-deserved. It was predictable, but it was gratifying. And what a great story this was. If you haven't read Stray Dogs, it's one of the best books out there. It's not a kid's book. It's very much an adult-driven book. And it's a little bit heart-wrenching, and there's tons of drama. There's tons of anxiety in this book. I really had a great time with it. It was interesting, and they did set it up, not really for like a sequel necessarily, but they left it a tad bit open-ended. And then I'm looking at the back here, and it says Stray Dogs, Dog Days #1, coming soon. So we're gonna get some more Stray Dogs here in the future. Same creative team, it looks like. See, we got Fleece and Forstner, yep. Simpson and Rodriguez, yeah, same exact creative team. So look forward to volume 2 of Stray Dogs coming soon. Amazing series in general. Not a single issue was weak. Not a single issue was bad. Every issue was great. And I don't think I know a single person that says Stray Dogs isn't spectacular. Phenomenal. Check out Stray Dogs, guys. All right. On to Spawn Universe. Man, we've been waiting for this book for, what, a year? Something like that. So what this book really does well is it kind of touches base on all the different spawns out there and lets you know kind of what they're into at the moment. We have our main spawn. We have our she spawn. God, who else do we have? We have medieval spawn. And then let me know. I'm not really up to date on all the spawns. There was one at the end of the story. Is it Gunslinger? I think it's Gunslinger. Yeah, it's Gunslinger. I loved that little, it was short. It was only a few pages, but it shows him like awakening after being murdered. And like, he's been protected by like the wolves over like all these years. He's literally like decaying there. Right. And he kind of gets up and he's like zombified almost. He's like half gone, puts on a face that he has found laying around. And he gets up and he tells the wolves just to come. That was the coolest part. And it was only like 4 pages of this double-sized issue. I mean, everything else is picking up kind of where Spawn is right now. I'm sure if you've been reading Spawn issue to issue, you'll understand right where everything is here, and it'll make a lot more sense to you. But I'm about maybe like 5 issues into the other Spawn run, the main Spawn run. And I watched the movie and the TV show when I was a kid on HBO. So I have a little bit of background on the character in general. And I read through the whole Omega, Plague, regular and medieval Spawn battle and everything like that. So I have a little bit of context at least, but some of the main themes are a little bit lost on me, but it was an enjoyable read. Not too dialogue heavy. Art was great. The art is amazing. Absolutely love it. So if you're looking for a place to jump in on Spawn, just jump in now. Really, any place is probably good. I jumped in the middle of a battle and I'm catching up slowly. So it's just going to take time to kind of figure out what's going on, because there's 320 something issues of Spawn regular, and then there's Spawn Universe now. So cool little touch base on what all the other characters are doing. So jump in now. It sounds like a good time. All right. So this is my favorite single issue of the week. Single issue meaning, I'm not, and any of these other books are good, but this is the best single issue in its entirety, in my opinion. So this is Vinyl #1 by Image. So who's our team here? Doug Wagner, Daniel Hilliard, and color by Dave Stewart. So what a crazy interesting book. So a little bit of time jump in the beginning. We have this person who apparently is a really efficient killer. I don't know if he's got like a split personality, or he's got like these psychic triggers that he has to kind of go through before he becomes an efficient killer. But he's kind of like this weird guy who, and I'm not quite sure what his trigger is. It's either a memory of music or music itself. It's all very music related. So it kind of opens up him and this agent of some kind, this agency who's been tracking him down. It's kind of like, hey, there was a big homicide a couple weeks ago. Were you involved in all this stuff? And he's kind of playing it dumb and everything. The guy's brought him an album and he's questioning about his music and things like that. So it's like, what the heck is this doing here? And so essentially what happens is these people come up to the agent and they tell him that they basically have his daughter and they're going to marry the son. They're going to force her to marry their son, who's basically going to kill her and mutilate her and abuse her whole life. And so he has to come with them. Well, our main character here, our serial killer character, does not like that. He ends up going to the house, and it's a very Denzel move. Denzel Washington. Like, how many movies have we seen where he just kind of like casually goes by, like the gang that he's gonna just take out all of a sudden, and he's just kind of playing it cool, or like, get out of here, old man, or whatever, and then he comes back and just wipes them all out. It's very much like that. And then it has this little weird like John Wick vibe to it too, where like he might not be the only one out there who's like this assassin, like this serial killer. There's all these different people in all these walks of life who, like, there's a whole panel and page here where their phones all start vibrating. And I feel like it's him going, you know, hey guys, we got to go to this house and take care of some people. And then the next few pages are just people just getting ripped apart. And so it's really interesting. It's like, mess with my friend, mess with his family. I'm calling my people and I'm going to take you out. So I feel like this guy's got a couple different triggers. One is like music, and maybe the other one's like this bear head that you put on. It's very, very weird and interesting. I loved it though. Final number 1. Very, very interesting book. I think it's my favorite single issue of the week. So we'll see where it goes. All right, on to Boom. We have Good Luck number 1. Matthew Erman and Stefano Simone. So this book is all about, man, how do you even describe it? So it's essentially a story of good luck and bad luck. They're like the gods of good luck and bad luck. They were introduced into the world. And when were they introduced? Like in the 80s or something like that? Yeah, 1989. And they say ground zero is Little Kentucky, Iowa, or Ohio. So they enter the world. They make their presence known, that there's such thing as good luck and bad luck. And there's kind of this zone that's created once they touch. And it's this zone that's isolated in America, right in this town. And so all of a sudden you hear about this agency, you learn about this agency who's collected these kids that are the only ones born now with bad luck. They just have bad luck everywhere. They're riding their skateboard, they trip. They reach for the door handle, it breaks. You know, they drink their coffee and they spill it on them. They're just riddled with bad luck. But yet somehow, in some reason, they're training these kids to go into this zone that was created. It's like a simulated zone. To go into this zone to retrieve this artifact. And I think this artifact is like, I think it's like good luck, like concentrated inside of this zone. But the zone's filled with like these monsters and traps and stuff. It was very, very hard to follow. And honestly, a lot of the dialogue in here was riddled with like good luck, bad luck jokes. And it was really kind of annoying. I think the art style was interesting, and I think the coloring was interesting. I think there's a good concept in there. But man, I was just really kind of confused too. It was, I don't know. Everyone seemed to be fighting. The characters, I don't think, were easily differentiated between each other. So it was hard to like follow consistently, like who's yelling at who. And all these people are kids and they all hate each other. They're all just arguing the whole time. And so I don't understand why this agency would get a bunch of kids that have inherently bad luck and then put them on a mission to go retrieve this artifact. Like how, you know, I don't know. Explain it to me. If you read this book and it's crystal clear and it made tons of sense to you, please let me know in the comments, because I couldn't follow it. Interesting concept. Number 1 from Boom. You can't pass them up. Not sure if I'll read number 2. Maybe I will, just for clarity. We'll see. Okay. A few more books. Something is Killing the Children. Boom. James Tynion, the 4th. Man. I didn't know where they were going to go with the second arc of this whole story in general, right? So we had Erica Slaughter going to the town, you know, killing all the monsters, saving all the kids, doing all the good stuff. And then it was like, what are you going to do now? Well, now they're doing the origin story of Erica Slaughter. And it has been killer so far. And I'm really, really enjoying it. So now she's brought into the House of Slaughter in an unconventional way. And so the next day she's going to have to like prove herself through the tests that they have. And so this is just a really, really interesting story. It's still very dramatic. The art has been really, really good. The characters have been really consistent. I've been absolutely loving it. So if you're not on Something's Killing Children, please get on it. It's an amazing, amazing book. And we're on issue 17. So get on it quick, because they sell out usually at every shop every week. Every shop in my area. I'm sure you guys have shops that have stacks of Something's Killing Children still, right? Maybe not. All right, so next book. This is from Valiant. This is Shadow Man number 3. So we have Colin Bunn. and John Davis Hunt on the art. So I think I may have mentioned that I'm a little bit on the fence still about Shadow Man. And man, I'm still on the fence about Shadow Man. So I don't know. Apparently, you know, all these demons have their powers, and there's certain demons out there that are hunting. There's certain people out there that are hunting these demons who have this like inherent dark ability, right? And so our main hero here, Shadow Man, he's trying to just kind of survive. He's trying to close all these rifts in reality, so all these demons can't enter the world. We practically have death following him around too, and kind of like playing around with him a little bit. I don't know. It's been okay for time to time. The art hasn't been super solid, and then all of a sudden it'll be like really cool in the next page. But then like the panels and pages in between those good pages are just kind of like, meh, I don't know. It's still on the fence. I don't know if I'll keep reading it because there's just a lot of good books out there. You know what I mean? And so, you know, do you have time to read a mediocre book when you could be picking up maybe something new and loving it? So I don't know. We'll see. You guys reading Shadow Man? Let me know what you think. I know Shadow Man's got a big history. This is not like the first book for Shadow Man. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this really looks familiar. This ad in the back, it looks like a video game ad, right? It looks super familiar. I can't place it right now. It says Shadow Man Remastered, like you've never seen it before, 4K widescreen. Yeah. So, yeah, Steam, Epic. So, yeah, I don't know. Shadow Man, we'll see. That might be something I'm dropping. Not entirely sure yet. Okay, and how the heck do you describe? Okay, so this is Behemoth. This is what is this? MFKZ number 1. There's also a Netflix movie. It's like an hour and a half long. Thanks, Missing Link, for reminding all of us that thing exists. Man, I don't even think I'm going to describe this book. This is a very difficult book to describe. Basically, we have these like animated figures. It's kind of like a Roger Rabbit situation. There's like a regular world, but then there's like a layer of like this animated world, it seems like, on top, and everyone's just cool with that. So that's the first thing that you need to get over when you read this or watch the movie. I mean, we got like this little boy, essentially he's a boy walking around. He looks like a skeleton. He is a skeleton, and he's on fire the whole time. And he's like walking down the street, and everyone's just like, yeah, there's that guy. Right. So, and we have like rats that talk and stuff like that. Or like these little friends that look like rats anyway. So this guy's a pizza delivery guy. He gets in an accident. He gets this brain damage. He starts kind of hallucinating these like evil shadows. He lives in the ghetto in Los Angeles. I believe it's Los Angeles, right? And, you know, where does he live? He lives in Dark Meat City, and he lives in the ghetto. So it's just basically his story about, how are we going to pay rent? I keep getting fired from these jobs. I just got this head injury. I think I'm seeing these ghosts or these like shadows that are really creepy. These gangs are killing each other and like harassing me constantly. We need to find money. It's very much just like this weird animated movie that they just turn into a comic book, and duh, that's what it is. So it's an interesting read. I like it a lot. I feel like I don't quite know where it's going. And I need to watch the movie because I know some of it is like panel for panel. It's kind of like watching Watchmen, and you're like, wow, that's exactly panel for panel. So I'll probably watch the movie over this weekend if I have time to. One criticism I will get is it's very, very long, which is fine. You know, it's not bad. The dialogue boxes, you can't tell in this shot probably. But so number one, look at the paneling. Look at how many speech bubbles there are, and look how tiny the print is. It's extremely tiny. There was a lot of times where I'm holding this book right up against my face, and the bubbles change color and the font changes color all the time. And so you're constantly having to adjust and kind of like train your brain to like read that again, which I thought really, really took away from the storytelling. And then all of a sudden, towards the last third of the book, it just goes black and white, which again is fine. But it just wasn't expected, right? And then so your brain has to readjust again. So, you know, it's packed full of action. To me, after realizing or remembering or being told for the third time that there's actually a movie about this, it makes total sense because it reads like a movie. like a little like weird, you know, Boondock Saint anime kind of a situation. So MFKZ, really interesting book. I would say pick it up and get a copy, and then if you enjoyed it, go watch the movie. Or if you watched the movie and enjoyed that, pick up the book. It is a $6 book. Lots of interesting covers. There's probably not a whole lot of copies out there laying around, but I actually enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so man, that was a lot of books. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite books of the week are. Again, I think my first single issue, you know, unrelated to anything that came before or after, and nothing came before or after this one, which is Vinyl. Didn't see it coming. I really enjoyed the story. It was intriguing. Can't wait to see where that goes. And then Stray Dogs was an extremely satisfying conclusion, yet a little bit predictable, but that was totally fine. Stray Dogs is an amazing book. Check it out. And I know a lot of folks saw Tony Fleece and Trisha Forstner on the PCP Army and Bad Batch shows. So check out Robbie at Pop Culture Philosophers and check out TM Nerdy because they actually had some of these folks on, and I believe they are coming up soon again. So take a look at their channels and make sure you are subscribed to them. All right, what other books, man? Let me know if you know what the heck's going on in Homesick Pilots, and also good luck. If you completely understood both of those books, please walk me through them because I am stupid. And I don't know what the heck's going on there. Anyway, check out the channels below for the PCP Army Bad Batch. And also we have some road to 300, 400, 500 subscribers on YouTube. So make sure to check out all their channels. If you're not subbed up, please sub up to them. Amazing content. You will not regret it. While you're down there in the comments, let me know what your favorite books were. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell for future videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the comments.